Good morning, children. This is line by line explanation of part 2 of the chapter Lost Spring by Anis Jung. In the first part, we had seen about the boy named Sahib-e-Alam. Here in the second part, we will see about a boy named Mukesh. I want to drive a car. Mukesh insists on being his own master. I will be a motor mechanic, he announces. Now this little boy, Mukesh, he wants to be his own master. He wants to be a motor mechanic. Do you know anything about cars? I ask. I will learn to drive a car, he answers, looking straight into my eyes. His dream looms like a mirage amidst the dust of streets that fill his town, Firozabad, famous for its bangles. Now this boy belongs to Firozabad. Firozabad is a hub of bangle making industry. Almost every house people are engaged in this bangle making industry. It is very dangerous. Health issues are there. People become blind because when they polish these bangles, the dust particles, because of those dust particles, people can become blind. Okay, now he belonged to a family which was engaged in making bangles, but he doesn't want to work there. What he wants to do, he wants to become a motor mechanic. Every other family in Firozabad is engaged in making bangles. It is the center of India's glass blowing industry, where families have spent generations working around furnaces, welding glass, making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems. Colorful bangles, beautiful bangles. They all come from Firozabad. But lots of hard work is behind those colorful, beautiful bangles. Okay, furnace is there, welding glass is there. Because of the dust of polishing of that bangles, many people become blind. This Mukesh belonged to a family which was engaged in making bangles. Okay, Mukesh belonged to the town Firozabad. Mukesh's family is among them. None of them know that it is illegal for children like him to work in the glass furnaces with high temperatures, in dingy cells without air and light, that the law, if enforced, could get him and all those 20,000 children out of the hot furnaces where they slog their daylight hours, often losing the brightness of their eyes. Now there people do not know that child labor is banned, and especially for such a dangerous work, children should not be allowed to work. But there are 20,000 children working there in the glass factory. Glass factory, it is very dangerous for children to work there because hot furnace is there all the time burning, due to which children can become blind. Dark cells are there, dark small rooms are there, there is no air, there is no light, and because of that furnace which is burning, that place is very hot, the temperature is very high. Okay, and these children often they lose the brightness of their eyes. Mukesh's eyes beam as he volunteers to take me home. Now Mukesh takes the author to his home, which he proudly says is being rebuilt. And he is very happy and proud that they are rebuilding the house. We walk down stinking lanes. Stinking means which smells very bad. Choked with garbage. past homes that remain hovels with crumbling walls, wobbly doors, no windows, crowded with families of humans and animals coexisting in a primeval state. Now, here, when Mukesh takes the author to his home, that place is so very dirty, it is smelling, the place is all choked, everywhere you find garbage. Okay, and houses, they are very shabby, doors are all very weak. In those houses there are no windows, and in small huts, number of people, many people, they are living all together. Not only people, human beings, but you find animals also there in the houses, those huts which are all mud houses. He stops at the door of one such house, bangs a wobbly iron door with his foot, and pushes it open. We enter a half-built shack. In one part of it, thatched with dead grass, is a firewood stove over which sits a large vessel of sizzling spinach leaves. When the author enters the house, what does she find? It is a half-built shack, and one of the part, it is all thatched with dead grass. And there a firewood stove is there. They don't have gas like we have. A firewood stove is there, and on that stove is put a big vessel, a large vessel, and cooking is going on. And on the ground, in large aluminium platters means big plates sort of thing, are more chopped vegetables. A frail young woman is cooking. Frail, a weak, very thin. The evening meal for the whole family. Now that young woman, she is cooking the evening meal. That means the dinner. Through eyes filled with smoke, she smiles. And because of that kind of wooden stove with all those coal and wood, lots of smoke comes out, and her eyes are all filled with smoke, but still she smiles. She is the wife of Mukesh's elder brother. Not much older in years, she has begun to command respect as the Bahu, the daughter-in-law of the house. She is a young woman, very less in age, but still now she is the Bahu, daughter-in-law, and she is taking care of 3 men: her husband, then Mukesh, and their father, means her father-in-law. When the older man enters means this young woman's father-in-law. She gently withdraws behind the broken wall and brings her veil closer to her face. Even in villages now, if you go, you find this kind of custom that when your father-in-law comes, you have to cover your face. You cannot come in front of them. So now this young lady, she goes behind a broken wall and she just covers her face. As custom demands, daughters-in-law must veil their faces before male elders. In this case, the elder is an impoverished bangle maker. So, Mukesh's father was also a bangle maker. Despite long years of hard labor, first as a tailor, then a bangle maker, he has failed to renovate a house, send his 2 sons to school. Now he had worked very hard in his life. He had worked as a tailor also, then as a bangle maker, but still he could not earn so much so as to renovate his house or to educate his sons. He was never able to send his sons to school. All he has managed to do is teach them what he knows. What he has taught his sons? The art of making bangles, because that's what he knows and can do. It is his karam, his destiny. Karam is a Hindi word for destiny. It is his karam, his destiny, says Mukesh's grandmother, who has watched her own husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. As I've told you, that when they polish these bangles, because of the dust which comes out, people they become blind. So even Mukesh's grandfather had become blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. And what grandmother says, that it is his karam, his destiny. Can a God given lineage ever be broken? She implies. What these people think, that God has given them this thing, means they should work in bangle industry because they are born at this place, so God wants them to do it. Okay, born in the caste of bangle makers, they have seen nothing but bangles in the house, in the yard, in every other house, every other yard. So everywhere in Firozabad they have just seen that, and they think that because they are born in the caste of bangle makers, they should do only this job because God has given them that job. Okay, spirals of bangles, sunny gold, paddy green, royal blue, pink, purple. You see, when you see the bangles, colorful bangles, all colors they have, and they are so very beautiful. Every color born out of the 7 colors of the rainbow. Lie in molds in unkempt yards, are piled on 4-wheeled handcarts, pushed by young men along the narrow lanes of the shanty town. You see those people who come to our colonies, they have that hand carts and things are kept there. Now here in Firozabad you find these kind of hand carts all filled with bangles, and these young men, they sell. Okay, and in dark hutments next to lines of flames of flickering oil lamps sit boys and girls with their fathers and mothers, welding pieces of colored glass into circles of bangles. So the places where these bangles are made, it's very dark. Okay, and there even small children with their parents, they are welding these pieces of colored glass and they are making bangles. Their eyes are more adjusted to the dark than to the light outside, because the whole day they are working in dark. When they come to light, they feel uncomfortable because their eyes are more adjusted to the dark. That is why they often end up losing their eyesight before they become adults. Savita, a young girl in a drab pink dress, sits alongside an elderly woman shouldering pieces of glass. Here we are seeing about a young girl named Savita, as her hands move mechanically like a machine. Why? Because every time she is going on doing that work, so her hands are moving mechanically like the tongs of a machine. I wonder if she knows the sanctity of the bangles she helps make. It symbolizes an Indian woman's suhag, auspiciousness in marriage. Now she is making that bangles like a machine. Here the author says, does she know that how pure, how pious these bangles are for a married woman, because it symbolizes suhag. Okay, it will dawn on her suddenly one day when her head is draped in red veil, her hands dyed red with henna, and red bangles rolled onto her wrist. She will then become a bride. Now she is a young girl. Here author says she will realize it when one day suddenly she gets married, and then there people get married at a very young age. Okay, like the old woman besides her who became one many years ago. She still has bangles on her wrist but no light in her eyes. And see what she says, ek waqt ser bhar khana bhi nahi khaya. Means she has not enjoyed one full meal in her entire lifetime. She says in a voice drained of joy. She has not enjoyed even one full meal in her entire lifetime. That's what she has reaped. After working so hard, and that too in such a dangerous condition, she never has eaten one full meal in her life. Her husband, an old man with a flowing beard, says, I know nothing except bangles. All I have done to make a house for the family to live in. My husband also says, I have done nothing in my life and I know nothing. Only what I know is bangles and bangle making. And after working so hard, the whole family is working, they cannot afford to eat good and nutritious food. Old man says, all I have done is to make a house for the family. In the first part, we had seen about the boy named Sahib Alam. Here in the second part, we will see about a boy named Mukesh. I want to drive a car. Mukesh insists on being his own master. I will be a motor mechanic, he announces. Now this little boy, Mukesh, he wants to be his own master. He wants to be a motor mechanic. Do you know anything about cars? I ask. I will learn to drive a car, he answers, looking straight into my eyes. His dream looms like a mirage amidst the dust of streets that fill his town, Firozabad, famous for its bangles. Now this boy belongs to Firozabad. Firozabad is a hub of bangle making industry. Almost every house people are engaged in this bangle making industry. It is very dangerous. Health issues are there. People become blind because when they polish these bangles, the dust particles, because of those dust particles, people can become blind. Okay, now he belonged to a family which was engaged in making bangles, but he doesn't want to work there. What he wants to do, he wants to become a motor mechanic. Every other family in Firozabad is engaged in making bangles. It is the center of India's glass blowing industry, where families have spent generations working around furnaces, welding glass, making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems. Colorful bangles, beautiful bangles. They all come from Firozabad. But lots of hard work is behind those colorful, beautiful bangles. Okay, furnace is there, welding. There is no leader among them, no one who could help them see things differently. Their fathers are as tired as they are. They talk endlessly in the spiral that moves from poverty to apathy to greed and to injustice. Listening to them, I see two distinct worlds. One of the family caught in a web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste in which they are born. The other, a vicious circle of the sahukars, the middlemen, the policemen, the keepers of law, the bureaucrats, and the politicians. Now, these people, they are poor, they have to work in the bangle making industry, they don't have that much money, so they are caught in the web of middlemen. Okay, together they have imposed the baggage on the child that he cannot put down. Before he is aware, he accepts it as naturally as his father. To do anything else would mean to dare. Now these people over there, they do not dare. They think that they are born in a family, or they are born in the family whose caste is to make bangles. They accept it. They do not want to do anything. They do not try to do anything else. And daring is not part of his growing up. When I sense a flash of it in Mukesh, I am cheered. When the author meets other people, she doesn't see any kind of daring, but when she meets Mukesh, she sees a flash of daring in him, and she is very happy. Here Mukesh says, I want to be a motor mechanic. He will go to a garage and learn, but the garage is a long way from his home. I will walk, he insists. Means he has made up his mind that he wants to be a mechanic, motor mechanic. Do you also dream of flying a plane? Now the author asks, you dream to become a motor mechanic, you dream to drive a car, but do you dream of flying a plane? He is suddenly silent because he cannot dream that high. No, he says, staring at the ground. In his small murmur, there is an embarrassment that has not yet turned into regret. He is content, means he is satisfied to dream of cars that he sees hurtling down the streets of his town, because in his town he had seen many cars, so he can dream only up to that. Few airplanes fly over Firozabad. Still, author is very, very happy to see or to meet Mukesh, because he has that daring to do something which is not done by others. He doesn't want to follow his family business, family custom. He wants to break that. He wants to become a motor mechanic. He wants to be his own master. Okay, so this is the explanation of second part. Thank you for watching. I hope you have understood it.